Hi everyone, I'm Andras Horvath and here's the long-awaited BMW Neue Klasse iX3 built on a completely new platform. BMW packed 100 years of knowledge into this car, and let's face it, this is what we've been waiting for because they've had good EVs before, but they were just electric versions of gas and diesel models. The i3 was also great, but this car is the one that I think marks a turning point for BMW because it's packed with technological innovations that are definitely worth celebrating. And well, let's start with the design, which maybe isn't such a big deal, and to be honest, it doesn't look that great in photos or videos. It looks a bit better in person, but it's not exactly close to my heart since it's yet another massive SUV. Fun fact, it's 10 centimeters longer than the BMW X5, which was considered huge back in the day. However, with this car, BMW has finally stopped putting increasingly larger grills and kidneys on the front of the car. They've reached back to the 60s and put a very sexy little kidney here, illuminated with the LED strip because they didn't dare use chrome anymore. That would have been too bold, but you can't really use chrome much anymore anyway due to various regulations. But I think this gives it a lot of character, and the front looks like a BMW again. You don't have to think about it or get used to it, and it fits these daytime running lights perfectly. One thing I don't like is probably this mustache, which I think is completely unnecessary, and the front would have much more character with just those sleek little kidneys and these L-shaped daytime running lights. There's a huge air intake at the bottom of the car, which is needed for the large battery. But if you notice, the front of the car is shaped like a V to funnel the air in and then direct it straight to the sides of the car. There's no black plastic around the wheel arches. It's a very clean design. The door handles are flush with the side of the car, and I can almost see the air molecules gliding over the front and this steeply raked windshield. So thanks to this, the drag coefficient is 0.24, which is considered exceptionally good in this category. And accordingly, spoiler alert, the WLTP range is 805 kilometers. Obviously, this requires a massive battery, which has 20% more energy density than previous models, so they were able to pack in a really large battery, giving us a net capacity of 108 kilowatt hours, and that's how you get the 805 kilometer WLTP range, along with the supercomputers they've packed into the car and all the refinements BMW engineers have made. The car can be ordered with 20, 21 or 22-inch wheels. I think the 20-inch aero wheels are the way to go, as they'll give you the best range and the best ride comfort as well. And if you look at the car from the side, you can see that there's nothing particularly miraculous about the side profile either. However, I think it looks much better from the side than, for example, the BMW iX. The proportions are somehow better, you don't have to get used to it as much. Essentially, it's an SUV, an SAV, a sport activity vehicle, and you can't really do anything too radical with that unless you're Lamborghini, and you can just push the whole design to the extreme. So honestly, I think it's perfectly fine from the side, but it's not a very tall car, which is quite apparent. I'm 174 centimeters tall, and they haven't made it into a massive box, which also helps with the aerodynamics. It has to push less air, so I think it looks perfectly fine from the side as well. The interesting parts really start here at the back. I like the rear of the car the most because we see all sorts of beautifully sculpted curves here, a widening shoulder at the back of the car, those L-shaped lights at the rear brake lights that we also saw on the front daytime running lights, a nice sloping spoiler on top of the car, and a color-matched diffuser. There's a black lacquered version too, but I like this one much better. And we have a 520-liter trunk, which I think is more than enough, and it's actually quite good for its category. And there's a Frunkyeah as well, which is waterproof, so you can put anything in there, and it's 58 liters. You could practically dance in the back. There's quite a lot of leg room in front of our knees, and we can slide our feet under the front seat. The seating position is very comfortable, and BMW didn't make the mistake that's often a problem where your thighs aren't supported. They are in this car, but I'm curious to see if they will be in the sedan as well. A huge panoramic roof, nice materials everywhere, and a physical door handle. There's no grab handle, for example, but we can hang our jackets up here. So the interior is very pleasant. The cup holder is nothing special. You can just put your cups in it. There's no removable display or anything like that, and no display here either. There's climate control, 2 USB-C ports, and that's basically it. But in the front, this car has become something incredibly cool. Well, I think the really interesting things are happening up here in the front. Where should I start? Let's start with the steering wheel. The steering wheel is something incredibly cool. Of course, we don't have a dashboard because there's this thing called panoramic vision projected across the entire windshield, and because of that, they were able to make a very interesting steering wheel. It looks like it's upside down, but it's actually not. So the spokes are vertical like this instead of horizontal, but it actually looks like there are horizontal spokes too, except they put the buttons on them, of which there are many, and it takes a little time and learning to get used to them, especially here on the right side, and we can control a lot of things with them. But this steering wheel is finally something different. And it's not a yoke, not some nonsense that's impossible to use, because it has a good shape, a good grip, it's comfortable, just like a normal steering wheel, but it looks incredibly damn good. It's very, very cool, very sexy. I can't find the right words. I like it beyond words. I know there'll be plenty of people writing in that this is hideous and so on. You guys have no taste, but this steering wheel is just incredibly good. By the way, there are 2 other types of steering wheels you can choose from. I definitely choose it with this one. And then there's this panoramic vision I mentioned at the start of the video, which we've seen in the Xiaomi U7. The difference is both are equally high quality, so it's perfectly visible even in direct sunlight and everywhere. However, we can put a lot of info on this, not just 3 like on the Xiaomi, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, basically 8 info panels we can arrange, and we can even swap things within those so we can flip through pages as we like, and it even automatically pulls up the navigation before a roundabout, for example. So it knows everything it needs to, and we don't have to take our eyes off the road because it's right there, giving it that spaceship feel and a sense of the future. And then there's this central display, which is, I don't even know what shape, a trapezoid? I'm not sure. Let me know what you think it is, but it's not even symmetrical. Obviously, there will be a vote on how this looks because it's just not right. It looks incredibly good. They didn't just slap a tablet in the middle of the car like every other manufacturer usually does. And there's no strip display, which I've said so many times about BMW, that you can't make good software for a strip display because there's no room. And all strip displays are basically bad. You need a proper tablet. And BMW said, let's think about how we could take this further. Okay, let it be a big tablet, but how could it be better? Well, by having this side quite close to the steering wheel so we can always toggle and tap the relevant things we need right now without having to stretch, and we can press anything with a single simple touch. There are no physical buttons for the climate control. It would be nice if there was a RAW here. I think it would have fit, but actually this is also very manageable and the temperature setting is easy to reach. There could be a button for seat heating too, so that's really my only gripe, that there could be a few more physical buttons. I like having them and then I'll decide which one to use. But for sure, this display looks great and really suits the car's interior, which is beautiful with all sorts of ambient light shining through the fabrics like we saw in the Countryman and the Mini. And the interior isn't overdone with really great seats. This is the comfort seat. The M seat is also very good. It has great lateral support. It's comfortable. We can adjust everything from the software, raise the headrest and all. But getting back to this tablet for just a moment, there's actually one more important thing I really have to tell you about and also show you. If I start tapping on this tablet and using this software well, you can actually see the icons animate smoothly, and as I press them, they react instantly and immediately. There's absolutely no waiting around for things to load or for any delays to happen. Everything just works right away without any lag or hesitation, making the experience feel really fast and responsive. Very rarely there were tiny hiccups where you had to wait a second or so for the map to load, but once everything's loaded, you don't have to wait for anything, and it's very, very snappy. And this is currently the most beautifully drawn, best designed software of all cars. And I dare say this is the best software I've ever seen in a car. And yes, it's better than the Tesla because it's much more beautifully designed, much more thoughtful, much easier to learn. There's no longer a sea of icons and everything looks incredibly good. From the right and left, we can pull in all kinds of sliders. We can put out everything we want and everything is beautifully designed, and we can set wallpapers. And really, this software enchanted me the first night when I tried it. I said, oh my God, they've totally won me over with this. This software looks as if Apple had designed it. Specifically, this is what I expect with animated icons. Everything is immediately snappy, responsive, and it's just a good feeling to use. Even the surface of the display is such that my finger just glides over it and it feels good to touch. No need to stretch, I reach everything. All information is there, plus the panoramic vision, and all info is there, plus we even have a head-up display. BMW got this perfectly right, even really if they eliminate these few small bugs, that there are 1 or 2 tiny stutters we found while driving. But actually, I don't want to nitpick because you can find minor bugs in pretty much any software, but really BMW has finally made a perfect software. You can't really nitpick. And well, obviously we have the induction phone chargers and cup holders and glove compartment here. I don't really want to go into those. There are great materials. We can configure it all over the place. It can be light, dark, brown interior fabric, recycled leather. Oh, one more thing that's very important, that the faux leather, the vegan leather, feels like I'm touching real leather, maybe even better. So BMW probably wants to entice people with this, that you don't have to kill animals and use their skin, buy vegan leather, and it'll be great for you. And actually, it's really great. It turned out very, very well. And so then only one thing remains: to see what it's like to drive, what the actual range is, and what these 4 supercomputers in the belly of the car can do. What are these super brains? We can run wild with 469 horsepower and 645 Newton meters. 4.90 to 100 acceleration. We've seen much more extreme values than these, and I think even this is a lot. I would really like a rear-wheel drive version with 300 horsepower, let it be even lighter, with an even greater range. But for this car, it's absolutely certain that the point isn't to push it to its limits. Of course, if I really step on it, you can push it to its absolute limits, and this acceleration and driving performance are definitely more than enough for overtaking. But let me say again, that's not really the main point of this car. Instead, it's the technological expertise that BMW has truly put into this car that stands out. There have been good electric BMWs before. The iX was very good. I also like the i4 a lot, but that was a petrol diesel electric combo, whereas this was built as a purely electric car. And in this car, I feel for the first time that BMW really went all out. It doesn't have air suspension. It has a completely normal chassis underneath. Well, sure, it has a 5-link rear suspension, a double wishbone front suspension with struts, and everything your heart could desire, but it doesn't have air suspension. And I'm telling you, quite honestly, if I didn't already know that it didn't have air suspension, I would honestly say that it did, because the way it so smoothly and effortlessly absorbs and smooths out those big bumps on the road is really something quite incredible. If we go over a bigger bump, the car immediately levels back out. And there's no rocking like this, no body roll, no twisting. You can carry tremendous speed through the corners. Like in this one, I simply know this car is 2,390 kilos, but you can throw it into any corner at unthinkable speeds. Of course, here in Spain, the roads are almost perfect quality, but we did drive on bad roads too. And actually, I only felt a tiny bit of vibration on very small grooves because of the 21-inch rims and low-profile tires, and the ride comfort isn't pleasant. But if the car had 20-inch rims, then this would be perfect too. It feels like I'm Aladdin slicing through these wonderful landscapes and these wonderful roads on a magic carpet. It's unbelievable that I could talk to you for 20 minutes just about the suspension, how it smooths everything out, and how precise the whole thing is, and that this is really a true BMW, and Chinese cars, for example, can't do this. We were just talking about this here with Tibor. The whole thing is amazing that they can do it like this. The steering is a dream itself. On one hand, even while driving, I still really like this steering wheel with these completely redesigned spokes, that the spokes point upwards. I'm sure you'll comment that it's not pretty or not good or distracting, but no, because there's no dashboard. And there's the panoramic vision, which makes it possible to put a spoke here in the middle at the top and bottom, and meanwhile the controls extend out here, which has a bit too many buttons for me, but actually the grip of the steering wheel is perfect, and the way this car can be steered, well, I could compare it to the Ioniq 5N, that it was this precise. But this car isn't really a competitor to the Ioniq 5N. That's a much sportier, much more aggressive car, much harder. That one is a real race car. This, however, is a real touring car. If the goal was for this to be a very good touring car, then they've solved it perfectly. And of course, there are these 4 supercomputers in it. This is the heart of joy. And one of them actually controls the driving dynamics, how much power to put down on the road, and it does 10 times more sampling than any BMW so far. The computers are 20 times faster than those in previous BMWs so far. Then another computer handles the self-driving, a third computer controls the comfort features, and what does the fourth computer control? Charging or whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that these 4 computers do their job very well, and the braking... First of all, I don't really have to hit the brakes because the adaptive braking is called symbiotic braking, and the steering is called symbiotic drive. Whatever that means, I don't care what it's called, but the brake is just incredible. The brake pedal feel is perfect. You can slow down the car very, very smoothly. You can't even notice the stop. The car can stop without any jerking at all. You can come to a stop at 0 very smoothly. Just watch. Holy crap. So smoothly, same. What was interesting was that I pressed the brake with the same force throughout. So I didn't slam on the brakes, I pressed with constant force, and before stopping I felt it ease off the brake a bit so the car would stop perfectly smoothly. I haven't really felt this in anything before. In any car, I always had to control this myself. This car solves this with its supercomputers. Interestingly, under normal use, the car doesn't use the disc brakes 98% of the time. So when we drive this car, it almost never uses the disc brakes. The regeneration and thus the braking power is so strong that you don't need to use the disc brakes, the brake pads won't wear, the discs won't wear, and we get maximum regeneration so we can recover the most energy. Well, this suspension is something quite incredible. How smooth the whole thing is, how harmonious it is to drive this car. I'm really in harmony with the steering, the brakes, the chassis, everything. There's absolutely almost no wind noise, only a little tire noise, and I think maybe the 20-inch rims would solve this too, if these weren't like millstones. You can order it with 20, 21, or 22-inch rims. If you buy a car like this, get it with the 20-inch aero rims. That means 10% more range compared to any other rim. And watch, if I want to overtake, it's just a flick on the gas pedal and I've already gone way over the speed limit, but I've overtaken the truck. The whole thing is amazing how much soul is really in this car, from the interior to the panoramic vision. The central display, the design of the steering wheel, the grip of the wheel, the way this 2,390 kilogram monster takes off. I don't feel its weight at all. I don't know what I should do with this car because I feel like, whoa, 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 whoa. I have to pull it together in the corner and I'm drifting on all 4 wheels. I don't dare to go that fast with it on these roads. I'm not even allowed to, and I don't dare to go fast enough to push its limits. Even though this really isn't a race car. Once again, I can only say that 100 years of BMW's expertise is packed into this car. They spent all the money in the world on development. I heard an amount like 7 trillion forints that they poured this much money into the Neue Klasse, and the thing is, you can really feel it. I don't know when this will pay off for BMW. That's not my concern, but it's certain that as a driver or as a passenger on the way here, I sat in the passenger seat. It was a real experience traveling in this car. I simply cannot find a single fault in the driving experience. The self-driving part, even on these highways, you see this has level 2 plus, so it's a bit above level 2, and self-driving was good in previous BMWs too. This took it up a notch. And of course, we have to supervise here too and sometimes grab the wheel on the highway. However, on the motorway, we don't have to hold the wheel, so we can let go of the wheel completely and go as far as we want on the motorway. And it even takes us off at the exit and signals for us. The car changes lanes. You just have to look in the mirror and it puts the signal on. I think it's very, very close to level 3. In fact, I think it could even do level 4. There are obvious reasons for this, why BMW isn't putting this in yet. You know, I don't want to get into this, but self-driving isn't at level 5 yet, so we'd rather supervise it, and BMW obviously doesn't want to take responsibility if someone kills someone. The approach here is a bit different than with Tesla, but what it promises that it drives itself really well on the motorway and the highway smoothly, and it drives itself as if a real driver were driving. So if someone in the passenger seat closes their eyes, they won't be able to decide if the car is driving itself or if I'm driving. So really, what it promises, it delivers exactly, and no more but no less either. And what strikes me most about the driving dynamics in this car is that it's like I'm driving a spaceship. I love tech gadgets like this, and this car is also a rolling computer, in fact 4 rolling computers, but the interior design with panoramic vision with this central display really feels like I've dropped into the future. They didn't just put a tablet here, but it's designed so that I can reach the most important functions almost without taking my hands off the wheel. It's no coincidence they made it like this, that the tablet is shifted this way and it has this weird shape, but that's functionality. We can put everything and anything on the panoramic vision, for example, the temperature of the battery. Besides the Taycan, finally a car where you can display the temperature. Very few electric cars let you display it, and it's great to know the battery is at 20 degrees now. If I wanted to charge because I needed to, I'd turn on the battery heating with a single button press, or program the Ionity charger and the car heats itself up, but I can see roughly how much the battery needs to be heated, or if I need to heat it at all, and I can put 7 pieces of info next to the speedometer. When I approach a roundabout with the navigation, the center of the display switches and I can see the map there too. If, say, someone in the passenger seat is messing with the display, I can see it on the head-up display and also on the panoramic vision if I can't see it here. I can't get lost with this car. Brilliant. Plus, I don't have to take my eyes off the road to see all the information that's important to me, from the temperature to the altitude, battery temp, whatever, what music is playing or what radio station is on or how fast I'm going, what the speed limit is. I just have to look down this much. I take my eyes off the road by a few centimeters, but in my peripheral vision, I can still see the road. Brilliant. And what else could do this? The Xiaomi SU7, except that one didn't have this much information. In terms of quality, it did the same, and I love it just as much in that one too. Every car should have panoramic vision. Seriously, everyone is going to copy this. Mercedes can make their hyper screen. It looks damn good, it's very expensive and all, but here it's included in all cars by default and it's brilliant. What I really like, and they thought of this too, is that we can change the data and displayed items of the panoramic vision from the steering wheel as well. No need to dig through menus. We can put our personalized little icons and data there, but with a single button press, we can switch to the remaining range or consumption. They thought of this too, and what I especially like is that I can reach that little sign icon with my finger to turn off the car's nagging due to those godforsaken European Union regulations. If I exceed the speed limit by 1, everything starts beeping. If I slide a bit into the edge of the lane on a serpentine, it starts, nagging and jerking the wheel and telling me to watch the road and whatever, while I'm tapping the display, of course, because the car is packed with displays. This is just a single touch here on the display, which is also very close to me. Obviously, you have to do it every time you start, but this is the simplest solution. And I don't understand, if it can be solved like this, why doesn't every manufacturer do it? Why do you have to press 26 buttons? This car has comfort seats. I didn't have to adjust anything on them and they're perfectly comfortable. It's just nice to sit in it. I really just don't understand why you can't even request seat ventilation in this car. It's such an interesting thing, and there's no AI-based conversation with the car yet. We've been testing it, it's forgettable for now. Supposedly, America gets the AI developments first, and then we can supposedly talk to the car at a chat GPT level. But for now, these iX3s can't do that yet, and honestly, that's what interests me the least, because I don't want to talk to my car. And if all that weren't enough, let's not forget the not-so-small fact that this car's WLTP range is 805 kilometers. That's more than the Mercedes CLA or more than the Mercedes GLC, more than any Tesla SUV. So I can't name a better car than this one in this category. And of course, that's just WLTP. But right now we're cruising with about 20 kilowatt hour consumption, and we've been going uphill so far. We've been coming down for 20 minutes now, but we went up to 1,000 meters and consumption was 25 kilowatt hours. We even pushed it a bit sometimes. That's very, very good because this car is very efficient. It has 600 meters less wiring, which reduced losses by 40% between the drive, the electric motors, the inverters, and the losses that occurred in the cables anyway. So this car has become really damn efficient. It has 2 different electric motors, a synchronous motor and an asynchronous motor that switches them off and on. They can play around with that too. The 805 kilometer WLTP range with a 108 kilowatt hour battery, believe me, it's magic. And it's an SUV, it's not a flat sedan. It's amazing that the 0.24 drag coefficient isn't outstanding, not 0.21 or 0.22. It's considered very good in this category, and yet you can cover 800 kilometers according to WLTP. In practice, this means that at highway speeds, let's say this car consumes 25. We haven't been able to test this yet. We'll do that in Hungary and we'll put any car next to it and it'll probably win. But that also means 400 kilometers and still some left, say 420 to 430 kilometers at highway speeds is easily doable with normal use 600 to 700 kilometers. Which for a car this size, I'll say it again, is truly staggering. And if all that weren't enough, there's the 400 kilowatt charging, which allows us to charge the BMW iX3 from 10 to 80% in just 21 minutes. Yes, BMW has finally done what we've been waiting for from German car manufacturing for a very long time, creating an almost perfect car with technology that truly puts them well ahead of everyone else working on this. And I could mention the Chinese too, and I could mention the Xiaomi SU7. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. I liked it a lot and it was very similar to this car, but this is better. And I was very curious about this. I even said in that test that the iX3 would be that car's rival, and if Xiaomi came to Europe, it wouldn't cost any less. Even the base package already contains basically every important detail and what's needed. So for this price, this range, this driving experience, this horsepower, the symbiotic drive, and this braking and this chassis, I have to say that honestly right now for this particular price in this SUV or SAV, which stands for Sport Activity Vehicle category, you know, when you look at all the choices available, this car is at the moment truly the best electric car out there, period. Thank you so much for watching this episode and giving it a like. Let me know your thoughts on the car. How do you like the exterior? How do you like the interior? Is this range enough in your opinion? And whether you also think so, and if you feel that I managed to convey what my intention was, that this is an incredibly good car.